Well, what brought me here today was you. Um, so I would say, I mean, my journey, it's probably longer than 10 minutes, but I mean, I have, I'm 46 years old. I've been in business since I was 21. I've always been in sales. Um, I have, been in the mortgage business for 15 years now. I've found it a great way to do a lot of different things around, it's provided a great livelihood. And then also, just being able to uh, help people. People always say about the mortgage industry, like it's not that big of a deal. It's not that complicated. And the truth is, it is complicated and it is a big deal because people are buying homes and they're typically relying on people that they shouldn't trust to help them buy those homes and to finance those homes. So when you can kind of switch gears and I think change the thought process on how you view your responsibility to help others, then I think it's a great balance of making a very good living and also having a major impact on someone's life if that's the approach you choose to take. And I think people look at our business as very transactional.
Mm.
My team and I think a lot of people in the core that I'm sure and that you're talking to, uh, try to make it relational. And there's just a big difference between transactional and relational um, business models, and they can both be good for a variety of different topics and what you're doing. Right? Obviously, an Amazon or that feels like a more transactional business. I think what we do, we need to make it relational. So,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think I've been coaching for 10 years. I've been in the core for 10 years. I've been a coach for 8 of those years. And my guess is that's probably what brought us together today.
Yeah. Yeah, relationship building is something very important in businesses, and I think sometimes it can be overlooked, but I think it's the single most important thing for building businesses. No matter what you do, you have to build that relationship.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, what do you think is the biggest factor in helping build relationships?
I think you have to listen to people. I think you have to ask very good questions that are non-scripted, um, and you have to hear people's answers, and then you have to
Mm.
ask more questions based on those answers. I think a lot of times, I can tell with some, you can tell in talking to people that they're just going through a series of questions. They could be asking you something. You could tell them that you just fell off a cliff and you're about to die, and then they ask you a follow-up question that has nothing to do with the fact that you're falling off a cliff and about to die. So you've got to be very aware of, I would say meeting people where they are by asking them the questions and then putting solutions around what their answers are, what their fears are, what their wants are.
Mm.
So I think that's how people have to believe that you care about them. And
Yeah,
the only way to do that is by asking questions.
yeah, definitely. That's really important. Is there anything that you would say that 17-year-olds kind of jumping into the business world or quote unquote real world, you think any skills they should develop, anything they should learn that might help them no matter what they do down the line?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be proactive in
Mm-hmm.
everything you do. You don't have to do anything, but I would say being proactive, having people be able to, like the word reliable isn't a very sexy term, but like being reliable is incredibly important. Knowing that you can count on, if I can count on you to show up, if I can count on you to do your best, if I can count on you to listen to what I'm saying, if you're writing stuff down, if you're taking notes, if you're asking questions, a lot of listening. I can't emphasize enough. Like people just, they want to tell you all about them as opposed to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would say. I would say listen, be accountable, be reliable, be proactive. Um, you know, come in with a plan, and at the same time, you've got to bob and weave depending on what the person, whoever your mentor is, or mentors, you've got to be doing everything they ask of you, and
Yeah.
maybe question later, but just
Mm-hmm.
surrender now and question later.
Yeah, that's a great It's a great sentence. I love it. Question later. That's a great thing. Yeah, I think it's those small things that people think, oh, I have to like read 1,000 books or I have to go out and talk to 100 million people. Yeah, those are helpful, but I think the basics and just listening to people and listening to people who are where you want to be and really being reliable and showing up is something that's very important. And people can kind of overlook that, but it's important.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, is there anything that you would say to your 17-year-old self, kind of looking back? Again, not saying that you change anything you've done, just some advice you'd have loved to hear back then, or maybe hey, looking back and be like, hey, you're gonna go through these things. Here are the lessons you're gonna learn, kind of thing like that.
Yeah, I would say if I could talk to myself now at the age of 17, what I would say to myself, one is, don't be overly concerned about what people think. Um, Push yourself. Um, I was just listening to something the other day and was like, why not me? Was something I've heard 1,000 times, but different things hit
Mm-hmm.
you at different times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like you can do anything you want. You just have to not worry about what other people think. It's kind of a balance. You want to listen to people that care about you and know that they have your best interest in mind, even if it's not what you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to. So I would say tune up the people, tune up and tune into the people that you admire, respect, and have your best interest in mind, and tune out what I would say are the haters that could affect that affect your ego, affect your decision process, make you feel insecure, things
Mm-hmm.
like that. And just hang around with as many people as you can that are, that are successful in whatever you deem success, right? So it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be, there's a lot of rich people that are really bad people.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to, go down that path, but
Yeah.
just finding the right people to surround yourself with is super, super important.
Yeah, that's a great point. You mentioned a little bit about how different things hit you at different times, and I think that's so true. What do you think is like the best piece of advice that you're given at the time? Not saying it's like the best advice ever given, but it's something that you really needed to hear in that moment, and it's something you still kind of think of and practice to this day.
I honestly can't say one. To me,
Mm-hmm.
like different things hit me at different times. I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the kind of biggest things that I've ever probably learned from Rick, of all people, is just there's two things, and it's both things that I've really learned in this year. One is, what we call as the bullseye, which is literally just, you draw four circles and you just think about what the most inner circle is the thing that's most important to you, and then the second most important thing, and the third most important thing, and the fourth most important thing. And making sure that your calendar is in alignment with your priorities is huge. And
Yeah.
then also, just from a personal perspective of like, just if you look at your hands out like this and you sit like, this is like what your intentions are and this is what your actual is. The further apart they are, the worse you're doing. The further they're connected, the better you're. The more your alignment, the more you're aligned with your words
Mm-hmm.
and your reality, the better. And I just like
Mm-hmm.
those. I'm a visual person, so being able to, a bullseye in this example, your hands being out, it's super helpful for me to just keep me, just making sure that I'm doing what I say I'm supposed to be doing. So
Yeah, that's great. I've never heard of that. Thank you so much for teaching me. That's so awesome. I'm a very visual person too, so I like to see things and it helps me to think of it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and speaking with me today. I think you shared a lot of great points. Definitely something I can learn and think about. Is there any last thing you'd kind of like to throw out there before we wrap it up?
No, I think you keep doing what you're doing. I think this is
Yeah.
important stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, just talk to as many people as you can, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever you gravitate towards, just keep going in that direction.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking some time and speaking with me today. I know my parents think so highly of you and your success as a salesperson and just you in general. So I really appreciate you spending a few minutes with me.
Awesome. Well, it was my pleasure. Thank
Thank
you, and
you.
best of luck. And if you need anything
Thank you.
else, give me a reach out.
Yeah. I actually have one question before we wrap it up. I'm
Okay.
not sure if you know, but I'm supposed to talk to around 100 people.
Okay.
So if you know a person or two who might be willing to sit down and have a conversation like we do, my deadline is the end of May. So
Okay.
I need a few more people before May. So if you could provide anything, that'd be really helpful.
Got it. I'll email it to you.
Sounds good. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ready. Take care.
Bye.